Welcome back to another episode of the Tile Money Podcast. My name is Luke Miller, your host. Tile Money is strengthening the tile industry. We're doing this with our weekly business education designed for contractors by contractors. This education is assisting tile contractors around the world to build sustainable, profitable businesses. The result? A stronger industry from the installer up. Today I've got a great person with me in the interview. I've got another Luke. So it's the Luke and Luke show today. I've got Luke Hendrickson. He owns Sticks and Stones Flooring and Tile LLC out of Washington State. We're going to talk about his journey and how he's doing in his business and expansion. We're going to talk about jumping in to the deep end. Oftentimes you got to be fearless, and Luke is someone who is fearless and he's willing to take on projects that others aren't. So I'm excited to talk to him today. Before we bring him into the studio, though, I do want to take a minute to thank our sponsors. These are the companies who are investing back in you, the tile installer, via this unique business education that is assisting you to grow and profit and show a profitable business. They understand that tile contractors everywhere need some help and could use a resource like this. It's a unique resource, and they appreciate what we're doing with our work. So we appreciate them. Our sponsors are investing in the tile industry, the tile installer contractor future. So we want to thank the NTCA, National Tile Contractors Association. And congratulations, NTCA. 2022 is your 75th year anniversary. Keep up the good work. Laticrete International, another company celebrating a big anniversary this year. 65 years, Laticrete has been innovative with their tile installation materials. Lightweight products, everything from showers, floors, deck mud. If you're going to install tile, they've got it. They've got something for you. Epoxies, some of the most innovative grouts out there. GoBoard is a Johns Manville company. GoBoard is a lightweight shower system. It's completely waterproof. They have everything from the sealant to the drains to the shower pans. You can build and achieve an ANSI approved shower system by using their products. And happytileguy.com. Happy Tile Guy is where tile contractors are getting professional search engine optimized ready websites done for them. Check out happytileguy.com if you do not have a website. A website is part of the professional package in 2022. And when customers and clients are looking to spend a good chunk of change, they're going to want to research you and make sure that you look like the companies that they're used to spending a lot of money with, which includes a website. And I want to thank our patrons for Tile Money who are donating monthly amounts as low as $5 a month. Every little bit adds up for this startup business, Tile Money, and we are appreciative. I am appreciative of all of my patrons. I appreciate that. All right, well, let's bring Luke up. Hey, Luke.
How's it going?
It's going good. Thanks for joining me.
Yeah, man. Thank you for having me on here. I like to watch your show. Have my earphones on while I'm working, soaking up all the episodes. It's been great.
Good. And it's been helpful for your business?
It has.
Good.
Yeah, man. I really appreciate the insight. I was actually gonna tell you that I would love to become a patron or some kind of a donator.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that a lot. Yeah, I'll make sure to get you that link here after the interview for sure. Thank you.
Anybody who's started watching your show and been able to expand their prices up the way I have, it would be a shame not to kick back some of that.
Oh, I appreciate that a lot. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure doing it, and I'm glad it works. You know, I'm glad people are benefiting. If they weren't and they weren't telling me, I'd probably stop doing it. You know.
Sure.
But
great.
But listen, why don't you tell us about yourself? I gave all I basically said is Sticks and Stones in Washington State. What are you all about? What do you like to do, and what's your business look like today?
Well, I have pretty much always had the luxury in my life of doing things that I love.
Nice.
I've not had very many jobs at all that I didn't enjoy or like.
Mm-hmm.
And so I kind of just follow that. There's a lot of opportunity here in this country. And I've always been in jobs that were either artistic or where I was in some sort of position of influence or training people, things like that. I love people. I'm a people person, and I love being artistic and detailed and thorough. So I just kind of follow that around. And my uncles and stuff, they're all like these crazy hippie artists. And so I started off as an apprentice for my uncle. He was Todd the Tile Guy, and he would do like Capitol Hill, Seattle, like all these houses that were all these crazy colors and back in the day. And we would just be fabricating stone, and it was awesome. I was learning some of my first jobs. I was making bull noses and polishing stone, and we would be wrapping clawfoot tubs with scenes of oceanry. So I would go print out
Wow.
dolphins and starfish and sea cucumbers, and I would cut them out on paper and trace them on there and cut them all out. And then we'd wrap these clawfoot tubs, or we'd do murals and people's backsplashes, trees with little apples on them or whatever. And so it was great. Man, back that was like 2005, 2007, somewhere in there. And he was paying me $30 an hour way back then. I would hire two guys. I'd hire two of my friends, and I'd pay them each $10 an hour and watch them grout. And I'd sit back and make $10 an hour just watching them, and we'd all have money for the weekends and stuff.
Oh, that's epic. That sounds awesome.
It was cool.
So he was paying you like $30 an hour as an apprentice, huh?
Yeah, even way back then.
Yeah.
It was good. He was doing all high-end jobs. We were out on Mercer Island, Capitol Hill, working for doctors and lawyers and such.
Tell me about these clawfoot tubs. I mean, what were they cast iron and then you were
Yeah.
tiling them or what?
So he would actually collect them. He's like kind of a picker. So he'd go around and he'd start stocking them in his backyard. He'd have
Oh,
like
I
a
see.
dozen of these things, and we would just put different themes on each one, and then he would show them off to his customers, and he'd sell them to people. And sometimes they would match what they had going on, or they would revolve the rest of their bathroom even around the tub sometimes.
Wow. Is he still selling those tubs?
Yeah, he makes birdhouses with security cameras peeking out the little holes, and he makes sheds for people where the roofs are doors. Like he'll collect like a dozen antique doors and pitch them and make like you look up and you can see all the doorknobs and stuff up on the ceiling. And he's pretty far out dude. Yeah.
That sounds cool, man. That sounds like a good tile guy.
Yeah, so he would lay me off every winter, and then when you're a young guy trying to impress the chicks, it just didn't work out very good. So I started working at restaurants. I became a sushi chef for almost 10 years, which was similar because it was just very artistic, and all my things had to line up, and I would stack them on the plates. And I was kind of an eccentric sushi. I was a white sushi chef. I always told people, well, I'm not Asian, but I'm Caucasian. And I did that. And then one day I was just like, man, I'm kind of burnt out on the restaurant industry. I really miss doing tile work. I went and bought a truck, tile saw, got licensed, bonded, insured. Didn't have any idea what I was doing. And my next door neighbor was getting their house done with tile work. And there was a company over there. And I said, hey, are you guys looking for a tile setter? And they were like, well, we need an in-house guy. You want to come to an interview? They offered me a van to take home. They offered me a gas card, benefits, 401k matching 3%. I mean, I was building Starbucks and Amazon and commercial kitchens, whatever, banks.
Yeah.
It was a sweet job. I was making nearly $30 an hour when I left. So all these years later, I'm making the same money as a lead that I was as a helper, which tells you something.
Yeah, for sure.
And it just never was the same as when I worked with my uncle. These blueprints and this commercial work, and it wasn't fun to me unless I was learning. Then I enjoyed it, but I didn't like showing up to a warehouse on a Monday, finding a work order. All right, where's this pallet? Pull this pallet down, see the material for the first time ever. Where am I driving to? All right, there's the address. Then I see the job for the first time ever, and then I wish that the sales guys used to be installers, but they're not. I would have done things differently, and then I got to make it happen. And I just needed to be involved in the whole process.
Yeah.
Find the customer, talk about the tiles, pick up the material, do the demo and the prep and the install. I love being there every step of the way.
Yeah.
And homeowners, they're not like when you're on a commercial job site, everyone's like hungover and everyone's grumpy. When I go to these homeowners' house, they're like, "You want some coffee?" I mean, at the end of the job, they're my friends and they're inviting me fly fishing and things like that. So
Nice.
it's just great for me. I really enjoy the change.
Nice. That's cool. So how long ago was that you went out and struck it out on your own?
All right. So about 3 years ago, I decided I'm going to go off on my own. So what I did was I went back onto social media. I started joining sites. I started paying attention to Tile Geeks and the Tile Posse and the Northwest Tile Setters and Tile Money and all these pages that have where everyone revolves around.
Sure.
I started getting knowledge. I ordered a TCNA handbook. I've almost read the whole thing, page for page, line by line. I look up the little RC, the little codes and the little words. What does rectified mean? What does this mean? And I stop and I go look. And I don't move forward until I understand what I've read. I'm going to websites of distributors and I'm looking at all the products that they offer. So if I ever am in a situation, I'm like, oh, Schluter has this Rondex step that will cover the edges of your countertops. And good thing I knew about that. If I didn't do the research, I would have been like, I don't know what to do.
Right.
Watching Sal DeBlasi videos and trying to learn the proper way of doing things. I started buying tools about 3 years ago, floor sanders, table saws, chop saws, moisture testers for slabs, lasers, just 100-pound rollers, just everything I could need for flooring and tile. I started slowly stocking it up. I was just looking at the warehouse I worked at. Oh, they have this tool. I need one of those. Oh, they have one of these. I need one of those. And I just used it as a template for what I needed. So, all right, I understand the TCNA handbook. I know what's available out there. I know what companies. I know where the local suppliers are at. I know what each one of them carries. I know I have all the tools for the job. And then once I kind of had everything going for me, I was like, all right, I need a name. I need a logo. I need a website. I need a Google listings and Bing listings and all the little places where you can list. I need a presence at minimum existing on those platforms. I need an accountant. I need someone that's going to do my taxes for me. I need a bank account and a credit card. And so I started just making all these things that I knew I was going to need. I got them all placed in order. And then honestly, I was probably going to take me a little longer, but the coronavirus came, and not to get into that, but I was hearing that, OSHA, and I was working on commercial sites and they were going to mandate these vaccines. And at the time I was just a little skeptical. And I was like, oh, babe, I better go get licensed, bonded, and insured immediately in case they can't push this on me. Because I just don't know. And so I went and I got licensed, bonded, and insured. Smart. And then all of a sudden my side jobs became legit. I was doing them under the table, honestly.
Sure.
And now I'm telling people, hey, I'm actually licensed, bonded, and insured. And I started watching your podcasts on Tile Money, because that kind of came later for me, this podcast. And then I started being like, wow, why am I going and doing showers for people for $1,200?
Yeah.
It takes me 2 weekends to do it or whatever, and I'm working really long days. I'm missing out on my family. $1,200 in 2 weekends seems like a lot, because now I'm making $600 in 2 days.
Right.
Whereas sometimes I make between $600 and $1,000 a week at my $30 an hour.
Right.
So it seemed really good.
It feels good, yeah, but you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot, and yeah, I
needed to be making more like $1,800 in 2 days.
Sure.
At least where I'm at.
I'll
probably go up eventually, but I'm a new kid on the block. I'm not trying to price myself out of work. I'm trying to get pictures, portfolio, build a reputation. I'm not trying to post pictures that I did working for another company.
Okay.
So I'm only trying to post pictures that I've done solo. I just feel like it's fair.
Yeah.
That's technically not my work. It's that company's work. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I hear you for sure. You posted any of those tubs, your uncle's tubs? Help.
I should. I
Yeah.
don't have any
You
on
probably
my.
wouldn't be mad selling a couple more of those. Mad at you.
Yeah, you're probably right.
You can send him some work.
They're really
That
hard to
that
find.
might be it. I know. That's what I'm saying. That might be something that really, helps you boost your social because it's so unusual, right?
Sure. Yeah, I should
Yeah.
try to find one and put something on it and take a picture because his that he has laying around are kind of old. They've been sitting in his garden.
Dusty and
They're
dirty.
planters and stuff. He turned them into.
Sure, sure. Yeah.
So
That's wild. So he would tile those inside and out, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It was.
Well, I was going to ask about your licensing. When once you got that license, I mean, it sounds like that was a real shift in your mindset. Did
It
it give you
was.
did it give you confidence, or what changed?
I was like, all right, well, nothing's holding me back. I've
Mm.
got a full running company now. Um, so what I was doing is I was like, man, I have a really good job. These
Mhm.
people have been like become family to me. They've watched both of my kids get born. I've been to the company Christmas parties.
Mhm.
Um, I married. I'm an ordained minister. I married one of my coworkers and his wife.
Okay.
We went and fishing and we just did stuff together, and they were always so good to me. I never remember ever getting chewed out about something. I mean,
Yeah.
every time I ever screwed something up, I was usually so frantic and sorrowful about it that they would be like, "Calm down. Here's a $2 raise." Like I kept getting raises every time I screwed something up, like consistently. It was the weirdest,
They didn't want to lose you.
I guess. Or they're like, "Yeah, something." And so I had a hard time leaving. I left on really good terms, but so I told my wife, babe, I'm gonna go off on my own. I'm gonna, we had this talk. You're not gonna see me for a little while. I'm gonna be working after work. I'm gonna be working on the weekends. This is gonna be really hard. We're gonna miss each other. You're gonna be doing lots by yourself. And I'm gonna need your help sending invoices and doing some paperwork for me. Like it's gonna be nuts.
How'd
So
that go over?
it was towards the end, it got pretty rough, to be
Yeah.
honest with you.
Yeah.
From November until November, December, January, February. For 4 months, I was working 7 days a week and
Wow.
really long hours. Like I got to the point where my feet were hurting so bad that I would just come home and put my feet in Epsom salts and kick my feet up. Like this
Mhm.
wasn't easy, but I had to make something happen or else I was just going to be working hourly,
Mhm.
making no more than $4,000 a month. My wife homeschools our kids. She doesn't work.
Wow.
Like
Yeah.
luckily I have a good rent price.
Yeah.
That's really the blessing in our life is our rent is pretty cheap. I don't need, when I tell people, they're like, what? Um, so I just needed, yeah. So I was scheduled out for so many weekends that it was just like crushing me. And I said, babe, if I get one more job, it's significant. I'm going to put in my 2 week notice and I'm going to move all those weekend jobs to weekdays. And
Mhm.
then like the next day, someone was like, do you want to come do this backsplash? And I was like, all right, 2 grand. And they were like, sounds good. And I said, all right, babe. I called my work, put in my 2 week notice because my boss was out sick, or else I would have told him in person. And I started just moving all my schedules from the weekends to the week. And now I've had 3 weekends off in a row now. It feels great.
Nice. Oh, so this is just like real recent.
Yes, sir.
Oh, gotcha. Gotcha. Nice. So what's been so how are you feeling now? I mean, so 3 weekends off. Are you planning on working weekends? I mean, I guess not from the sounds of
I'm
it.
not going to work weekends
That's smart.
unless I have to. I'm going to eventually start taking Mondays off for doing
Nice.
estimates and bids. I'm going to try to work 4 days a week.
Yeah.
The thing that I didn't really consider was I was like, all right, I need to fill up my calendar. So I downloaded Google Live Calendar, started throwing jobs on there. Well, I just bid myself 5 days a week, 5 days a
Mhm.
week, 5 days a week, 5 days a week for like 2.5 months out.
Right.
And after this few weeks has went by, I'm like, oh man, I used to work that much, but someone else was doing the bids and the
Right.
estimates and the invoicing. I was like, I didn't allow myself time for that. I was like, man, that was not smart. So once my calendar is once I can tough it out another
Yeah.
2 months, I'm going to start taking probably Mondays off
Yeah.
and using it for my company.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. I interviewed Matt from Rembrandt Tile, Rembrandt, on well, I guess it was just yesterday I interviewed him, and he was taking Fridays off, and he loves it. And I think, going back to like some of the earlier podcast episodes, I was interviewing Steve Rosh, um, who's no longer with us, but he was mentioning like office time is it should be 20% of your time. So if you want to work a 40, 50-hour week, it's basically a full day
Yep.
in the office. So I think you're right on the money there with just saying, I'm going to dedicate a full day. You could mess around with like 2 hours a day, but me personally, if I'm going to work in the office, I just 8 hours, boom, it's done. I don't have,
Yep.
because it takes like, I mean, you know how it is with tile. It takes 2 or 3 hours before you're in the groove and actually, feeling that rhythm. And for the office, for me at least, it's just kind of the same way. It's like, man,
Sure.
where is everything again? And, especially when you're in the field 4 days and then one day, it takes an hour or two of orientation. Like, oh yeah, this is what the flow, the flow.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So you're jumping into the deep end, and it doesn't sound like, we talked briefly before we started, and, you were talking about being fearless and taking on some bigger work and stuff like that. How much of that is, into play, I mean, it takes bravery, to do what you did, put in your 2-week notice and go out on your own. And how about work-wise? Do you have any stories or, anything you can relate to being fearless and how it's paid off?
Sure. So I just did some countertops for someone. I did some large format tiles. They were 24 by 48.
Okay.
And so these people are moving. Then I got a referral through a friend. They said, we want kitchen countertops, 2 bathroom countertops, and then all 3 of them to be backsplashed.
Mm-hmm.
I told them, if you want to tile them, I just, people tell me not to do this, but I like to help steer people in the right direction. People are like, well, if that's what they want, then give them what they want. But I'm like, you guys, quartz countertops are a little more modern. There's no grout joints. It looks better. I'm not going to make as much money, but I could go down to Contractor Furnishing Mart or whatever and sub this out and get you some nice countertops. I think it might even be a little cheaper. And he goes, so if I do the countertops, you're going to sub it out, but if I do tile, you're going to do it yourself? I was like, yeah. And he goes, well, then I want tile. He was trying to help me out, get my company going. He's just moving anyways.
Sure. Oh, okay.
I said, all right, you're going to want some large format tiles because of these corners that go a little deeper, and order some natural stone so that the edges we can polish them.
Cool, yeah.
So he goes out and orders the tile, but he didn't get natural stone. He ordered porcelain, and the edges didn't look nice. And I was like, oh no. So we got him some Schluter Rondex step. And that stuff is a beast to put on in 45 and 22 and 22 and 45 and make it all line up and look good. But I got that in and done, and sanded and primed out the countertops, and went out and I made a template. My first one, templated, hot glued together. I took some 1/8 inch underlayment, cut it into a bunch of strips, glued it all together, brought it out into the garage. I laid everything out, put my spacers in, traced it out, cut them all out. I used one of those Swiss cheese blades, cut them all out, and then I sanded and filed and cleaned up all my edges, brought them back in, and they just fit perfect. I was like, victory. And my uncle was like, I thought I was going to come here and teach you some stuff and get you in line, but you've been teaching me some stuff, and I take my hat off, and this is beautiful. I'm really impressed. And the homeowners were like, wow, we didn't think it was going to turn out this nice. We were a little skeptical. And I was like, I wasn't sure if it was going to turn out this nice either, but
That's cool.
I have pictures on my Facebook if someone can find me.
Yeah. What is that? Does it Sticks and Stones or Luke?
Lucas Hendrickson.
Okay. Yeah. Lucas. That's right. Yeah.
I need to use my business page more than I do. So yeah, I did those large format tiles. I ordered some of those suction cups, and man, what a leap of faith to trust those suction cups. But they hold, they work good.
Yeah.
Make sure there's no dust on your tiles.
Which ones do you use? The Grabos?
Yep. Yeah. You just pump up the.
Yeah. Those are good stuff.
Yeah, they worked really nice. And So a lot of times on jobs, I'll grout twice. I'll grout once, and then I'll come back in and I'll mix another batch, and I'll fix everything, and I'll float it all out, and I'll get rid of any inconsistencies, and I'll go in there and make. My uncle taught me that, and if you're willing to put in the time to grout twice, you can actually make jobs look really, really nice.
Mm.
Not all, you don't always have to do that, but on some jobs, if you're willing to hit it with the second time just to fill in, it's been working out for me pretty good.
Okay. I've never heard of that trick. So your uncle's working with you again, huh? Or
Yeah,
working for you this time. You were working. He taught you the trade, and now you've been able to keep him a little bit employed as much as he wants. Or
exactly. He's retired, but I'm feeding him some jobs,
cool.
and he's been helping me out. And it's been he still teaches me stuff. I just don't tell him.
Don't let him know, man. I bet that's a blessing though to have him on your jobs with you and have that
It's so
second set
cool.
of eyes and access to his knowledge and that's cool. That's so neat. What a I mean, it's a blessing, like I said, to work with family and be able to do that over the years. That's really cool.
He's not as fast as he used to be. He's a
Mm,
little slower. I think he gets a little frustrated easier than he used to.
sure.
And he was trying to be so apologetic to me. And I was like, Uncle Todd, do you remember how much of a pain in the butt I was to you
Yeah.
showing up? He would come to my house and I would be still sleeping and he'd leave without me, or I'd be falling asleep in his passenger seat on the way to work and the way home every day. And I didn't know what I was doing back then. So I was like, it's payback. You
Yeah.
just get to, I get to take your junk now.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm sure it's just great having him there. I would probably, do the same thing. That sounds awesome. So how are you, defining and differentiating what you have to add, or offer your clients as value wise, because oftentimes, I mean, it's, it can be confusing to, people shopping for a tile countertop, a shower backsplash or whatever. So how do you sell yourself to your clients?
I'm still working on that. Um, I'm trying, I don't want to bash the industry or other installers. So I'm trying to come up with a way to bash them without bashing them. What I mean is contractors, the reputation of contractors is scary. People are scared. They don't
Mm,
know who's going to show up. They don't know if
right.
they've showered in a week, or people show up looking all dirty in their dirty clothes and they don't show up. Oh, my contractor didn't show up this for the last 4 days. He hasn't been here,
Yeah.
and things like that. So when I go into places, I look like a professional contractor. I don't
Yeah.
look like a sales guy. I don't look like a dirty worker. I show up wearing like nice Carhartt, like never been worn, the creases still in them. I got my tape measure. I got my straight edge or my level with me. I've got my laser. I
Mm,
made this little tape measure on a 4x4 with a line on it exactly lined up to my laser. So I'll set the laser in the room and I'll move the block around and I'll show them how the laser goes up or lower than the line.
mm,
I'll take some measurements. I'll put my level up. I show them, what's going on in there, and I tell them, look, if in hiring me, I have a nice contract. My
mm.
contract isn't just to protect myself. Like I'm not responsible for this or this or this or this. I'm not responsible for anything. I don't do that to you,
Uh-huh.
you know. And I actually have you in mind in my contract to protect you and to make you. I want you to be able to take that breath right now instead of hold your breath until I'm done with the job and then finally be able to go. Oh, I want you to be able to have that peace of mind right now. I'll tell them stories about how I messed up a job and I ripped it back out and replaced it with. I went and bought the materials with my own money and spent my
Mm,
own time and just redid this job because I messed up or something
mm.
wasn't right. Not every time everything goes perfect.
Yeah.
Most of the time we are working with new materials or new tiles or doing something we've never done. Almost on every job, there's something you've
Mm,
never done, at least at my point in the career. So I just tell them, look, I've got zip walls, I've got air scrubbers, I've got little whale tail connections on my vacuums.
yeah.
I use carpet protection. I use ram board. I clean off your doorknobs every day from in your doors that I've been touching.
Yeah.
I'm going to show up Monday through Friday. I'm going to work 8 10, 12-hour days. When you start cooking dinner, I'll probably start wrapping up when I smell the dinner cooking, you know?
You'll have to start saying Tuesday through Friday now.
I will, yeah.
I like it, Luke. That sounds like, what you're doing is you're just differentiating yourself without really having to say anything or talk about anybody else, from the moment they, hear you or see you in person to explaining your process, really, because that's what it is. It's your own unique sticks and stones process for, getting the job done. I mean, you're talking about air scrubbers, you're talking about all this, additional protection for their home, right? Because that's really what you're doing is you're looking out for their home. And honestly, you can talk about their health as well. I mean, this stuff is breathing construction dust in is one of the, more unhealthy things you could do to a family or a person, especially, kids or whatever in the house. So talking about all these things is really smart. And I think that's exactly that's beautiful, man. I love it. I love the way you're presenting yourself to your potential customers.
Yeah, I let them know I'm just a regular guy. I'm not any kind of a creep. I'm not a slum. I bring the TCNA handbook and I open it up to the page that is closely resembles what we're doing. Sometimes it's not a perfect application, but I'll say basically minus this one thing, this is what I'm doing. All of your product and material warranties are going to be intact because I read these things and I do it the way they say. If something fails and a rep comes out here, they're going to say, yeah, this was done properly. You don't have these to worry about these fears.
Yeah.
And so now I'm just trying to get out of itemizing. I have this thing where I'm trying to be transparent and like show people how they're spending their money. And everyone's just been consistently telling me not to do that. So I'm trying to get away from itemizations. I'm struggling with that. I could use some advice maybe.
Well, how do you mean? Like how far do you break it down?
Usually just process. So like demo, prep, tile install, things like I don't go too detailed. I also tell them, I'm not the cheapest guy in town sometimes, not right away, but after they're kind of like, ooh, I don't know about this price. It seems a little expensive. You're making $900 a day. Like, why? How can you justify that? And I just say, listen, I want to do it right. I want to be able to slow down. I want to be able to take my time. When something arises, I want to stop and say, I'm making enough money that I can pull these 2 or 3 things back off and run to the hardware store and come back and put this back together instead of saying, oh man, I'm not making so much. I need to move on to my next job. Screw it. I'm just going to move forward. You're paying for that. You're paying for the fact that if you call me in 2 months from now and you say, hey, this thing's going on, I made enough money on your job where I'm not going to change my phone number and I'm not going to not answer my phone. I'll shoot back up here on a Saturday if I have to. We'll fix your problem. The money in this is for so many reasons that are benefiting you. I can do it right.
Yeah.
And I can come back if I have to.
How's their response usually to that answer about the money?
Good.
Pretty good.
Yeah, it starts to make sense.
Yeah. Sometimes you can break the ice, crack a joke about it or something. Or sometimes I would say like, I wish I made 900 a day, I'm running a business here, I mean, I don't see much of that, and it's the truth. It's the honest to God truth. I mean, it's amazing. When you're doing things right and you're adding, you've got an employee and you've got payroll and expenses and different insurances. I'm sure Washington's like California where, you've got to have a few different insurances and different things and, all this stuff.
My Ford Transit is between my payment and insurance. It's $700 a month right there.
Yeah, exactly. So it all adds up. It's just a matter of, it's just a matter of doing business is expensive, and to be honest, I wish it wasn't so expensive, but it is. It's ridiculous. And that's the whole point of this show, right? Is to try to help guys understand, like, look, I mean, that you're not making, 900 a day. You're not making that. The company's charging that. What you make is what you bring home and what you can spend on groceries and what you can put in your personal bank account, not your business bank account. That's what you make. And if you're
Yeah. I tell people from your channel, I've learned to say to people, look, there's a lot of guys that are going around unlicensed, unbonded, with no overhead, trying to underbid me, and they'll work for pretty cheap.
Mm-hmm.
But that guy is not going to do it right. He's not going to come back for sure afterwards and work on your job. If you try to put a claim on the guy, you're going to get in trouble for hiring someone that wasn't licensed and bonded before they ever get in any kind of trouble, most likely.
Right, exactly. They'll disappear.
Yeah, so that's not the way you want to go.
Nah. I wanted to touch on the estimate. You asked for maybe a little conversation or advice on, the details of the estimate. Honestly, Luke, if you talk to a dozen people, you're going to get, a dozen different opinions on that, or, everybody's feels strongly that their way is the best way. I would say, whatever feels right for you and your company. I mean, the way you described it, like you say, demolition, prep work, tile installation, maybe materials or something. That's kind of the way I would do it. Actually, I used to do it lump sum. Like I didn't break down like, okay, we're going to need 6 bags of thin set at $32.99 a bag. Like I never broke it down that far, but I would just say like, rough in materials for your shower, X amount. I would never tell them like, okay, the boards, this, that's me personally. Everybody's going to have a different opinion. And I try different things. Like I would sell some jobs, some complete bathroom. It would be a complete bathroom remodel. And I would just say bathroom remodel. And I would just say, $25,000 or whatever the price was. Sometimes I sold a lot of jobs like that, and then I adjusted it and did, eventually I evolved into more or less what you're saying. And I it's just one of those things. It's up to you and how you feel your clients are responding to what they're seeing and what you're comfortable with, honestly, because I like a little breakdown. Personally, it sounds like you and me are on the same page. I like a little breakdown, like, okay, demolition, and then I would just say, like, this is going to include dustless in the description, dustless demo, HEPA vac, temporary walls built, plastic walls built, disposal of the trash, So I would just say, like, the more words, the better, but the less details of, like, if that makes sense. Like the description, in my opinion, should be wordy, like a paragraph per line item. But as far as like line item materials, I would never go like bolt by bolt, because it's just like, what does it matter? And that contract or that estimate, which would turn into an invoice, is their receipt. I know some people, once in a while you get a client's like, give me your receipts. And I'm like, those are my receipts, sucker. Here's your receipt, the invoice, So I think the more, in my opinion, is not so important, like which way you do it, if you want to get super detailed or less detailed or almost no details. If it's working, it's working, right? And it's part of your sticks and stones sales process that, is kind of proprietary to you. That's the thing about sales. You can learn 100 different ways to approach sales. At the end of the day, whatever works is works, and there's no official sales training out there, right? You have a bunch of gurus who will sell you their way. But at the end of the day, you got to find your own way and kind of take a little bit from here and a little bit from there. I mean, that's why I love this podcast and podcasts like it, because we've got 150 plus contractors that you can go back and listen to, and you can take one or two things from each of them or not at all. But the choice is, at least you're learning, at least there's opportunities to, see how other people are doing it,
I love it.
Yeah.
What a comfort to have these podcasts and these communities of tile setters, where that you could just take a picture of something and be like, help. And within an hour, you're going to have 30 responses. Right. It's just, that's comforting to me. That's one of the reasons I'm willing to take on things that I'm not so comfortable. I know I've got a support group, and I know that I can be a part of that and help others. Oh, I've been in that situation. Do this.
Yeah. Where do you see yourself? Where do you see your business in the future? How far you want to take it? You want to be a big business, small business, art
I'm like
focused?
double and triple minded about it.
Yeah.
I'm made out of very pliable material.
Mm.
Um, when I first started doing this, I got my business license. I started advertising myself. I wouldn't tell you how many people who were like business coaches and search engine optimized people, and people just all of a sudden want to help you grow, and they want you within 1 year to have like 10 employees and be making $1 million. And I'm just like, whoa, like hold on, like there's
Who
an
are you?
there's an attraction to business coaches. I see the benefit. Now most of them are like $600 or $700 a month for these services, and yeah, they have teams of people running your online presence and fixing your. I know that you do that kind of stuff, and I do see the value, and I do want one day. See, right now I'm so new that my income and my output,
Hmm.
I don't have a handle on that yet.
Right.
And I'm the sole provider for my family, and I'm not gonna take $600 a month when I just bought a van that I'm paying $600 a month for the first time.
Yeah.
That's $1,200, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just don't feel, but I do see the value in these things. I know I need search engine optimizing. I know I need my logo and my website updated. I know I could use, if I pay someone for leads, they're probably going to give me leads. Right now, I'm not paying for leads, and I'm staying busy.
Hmm.
Um, so I do want to grow. I've got 3 employees. I've got my uncle. He's doing tile. I've got a guy named Lane. He's a fully trained flooring installer. He's running around doing engineered hardwood and LVP for me.
Oh,
And I've got
nice.
a guy named Jeremy. He's doing demo in front of me, and he's fixing drywall and painting and doing a little bit of plumbing, little P traps and stuff for me. He's not the greatest grouter yet, but I'm trying to work on him grouting for me. Um, so I'm trying out working with people, and they are making me money.
Hmm.
While I'm at one job, they're generating me money on the side, and it's good money.
Hmm.
I'm trying to get them on the books. So I'm learning about right now workers' comp and all these, W-2s and how to get them all on board.
Hmm.
So I told Lane, can you do 2 or 3 cash jobs for me? And then I'll see how you do, and then I'll hire you. Well, he's on
Yeah.
his second job, and I like him. So I've talked to my accountant and my wife, and I'm calling some places. We just called where he used to work and got some good references, and we're going to take him on board.
Hmm.
So,
Congratulations.
yeah, thank you.
That's a big
QuickBooks
step.
has like a generator that they show you. If you pay someone this much, this is the cost to run
Hmm.
them. And it wasn't as scary as I thought. $6,000 a year or something I'm paying to employ these guys. And I don't see
Sure.
why they wouldn't make me more than that.
Right.
I really would love. He's got 3 kids. One of the guys, he's a firefighter. The other guy's got 2 kids, and he went through the Union Gospel Mission, and he used to have some in a pretty tough spot. Now
Hmm.
he's just such a good guy, and he shows up and he's smiling and he's happy and he's ambitious. And his name is Jeremy. Everybody loves him.
Nice.
I,
Nice.
I bring him to job sites, and people love him more than they love me. I mean, he's just charismatic, and I'm like, oh, everybody loves Jeremy.
Well, that's good. That's good. Maybe a potential salesman in this future.
Yeah, maybe.
You know, it's good to have employees that people like, for sure.
Yeah, so far it's been good. Um, I don't know. I guess I do. I eventually want a showroom and a box truck and a forklift and some samples, and I want to try to sell material. That is a goal of mine.
Hmm.
I've already looked into how much local commercial space costs per square foot.
Hmm.
I have the phone numbers of local commercial realtors. I know where the best spots are at. I've already been there and done some tours and looked around. I've priced out box trucks. I've priced out forklifts. I've looked at office equipment, printers and desks and all the little things that you have to have. I've got all that stuff. I always want to do the research before I'm there so I know
Hmm.
what to do.
Yeah.
That's what I encourage people to do. One of my reasons for coming on, make the jump, make the leap. But
Hmm.
you can't just do it because you're mad one day. Oh, I'm gonna go off on my own. You've got to take that few years or couple years or a year, depending on your speed and income. You've got to make your websites and your phone numbers and your licenses and your insurance, and you got to get a van and the tools, and it's just so worth it. I mean, I have 6 months of income saved up before I went on my own. So if I have some slow times, I can rely on that.
Yeah.
Sold my motorcycle.
Yeah. You'll get it back.
Yeah. Yeah, I would just say, if you're going to do it, and if you want to do it, you must know you can do it. At least the work. You just need to put those systems in process so that it's going to work out, because you have to play the game right.
Yeah. Right on. Well, Luke, tell you what, man, that 45 minutes went by quick. It was a pleasure talking to you. It's been encouraging conversation, I'm sure, for a lot of listeners, and for myself. I like to hear you're doing great things out there. Keep it up. I'll be checking back with you and make sure you're doing all right. Feel free to reach out anytime, and maybe in 6 to 12 months we can check back with you and see how your business is. I would like to do that, because it is a newer business, and I think it'll encourage a lot of people to see, a progression episode if you're up for it in like 6 to 12 months, something like that.
Cool.
Yeah. And where can people find you? Are you on Instagram? You're on Facebook, I know.
Yeah, I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. It's Sticks and Stones Flooring and Tile LLC. My Instagram, I don't know. It's Lucas Hendrickson 992.
All right. Lucas Henderson 992.
992. Sticks and Stones Flooring and Tile. I'm out of just south of Seattle, Washington. There's my little thing right there.
Nice.
And stay profitable, tile friends.
All right. Stole my line. All right. With that, tile friends, if you want to stay in touch with all things tile money, you can subscribe to our newsletter. It's a weekly newsletter, goes out every Thursday. Check it out on tilemoney.com. You can subscribe to that. And like Luke said, please stay profitable out there, tile friends. Over and out. Talk to you next week.